If I knew how to edit, I would just put this up on the screen, but I don't. So before we watch this video, I'm going to read to you what the new Title IX is starting August 1st, 2024. And it is Title IX protects any person from sex-based discrimination, regardless of their real or perceived sex, gender identity, and gender expression, female, male, and gender non-conforming students, faculty, staff, community members are protected from any sex-based discrimination, harassment, or violence. Now let's listen to Miss Mary. Okay, let's listen to Miss Mary and hear what she has to say, because she's smart. And you see this gentleman right here, back here in the left, right here, he starts to fall asleep in the middle of it all, and it's kind of funny, but it's not funny because we need to pay attention. He's probably tired here. You know what I mean? And this lady here, she's old.
Thank you, Chairwoman Fox. And thank you for making the restoration of Title IX such an important priority for this committee. We recently celebrated the 52nd anniversary of this body passing Title IX. 52 years ago, everyone saw the need for equal opportunities in education, scholarships, and athletics for our girls. Title IX was enacted to do just that. But Joe Biden's new rule will erase those protections and opportunities for our girls. Unfortunately, the Democrats and the radical left don't know the difference between a man and a woman. So I'm proud to be leading this effort today to overturn Joe Biden's unlawful and radical destruction of Title IX. We keep hearing the Democrats parrot that they are just following the Supreme Court's decision in Bostock. That is a lie. The Supreme Court specifically said in that ruling that Bostock should not be applied to Title IX. This is from the majority opinion in Bostock. Quote, "We will not purport to address bathrooms, locker rooms, or anything else of this kind. But Joe Biden does not care about courts or the rule of law. He will do anything to appease the radical left. Biden wants to force biological men into our girls' showers and bathrooms. And the Biden Title IX rule will be the end of girls' sports. The prospect of this is sickening, and parents across this country are horrified. We must pray for a return to the Trump administration policies that protected our girls from these vile left-wing people, their agenda to force biological men into our girls' safe spaces and sports. I urge my colleagues to support this resolution and to stand up to Joe Biden. Thank you, and I yield back.
I'm going to let it run right into the next one, but I do have something to
The
say.
gentleman from Michigan.
Here's the thing with this. Bostock Supreme Court trying to make it so that if you are a child and you think you are the opposite gender, you want to be the opposite gender, that gives you the right to go into a bathroom that you weren't born. That's uncomfortable. They're children. How does a child come home and say, I want to change my gender? I mean, like, it's a free world, free country. Do you? I'm allowed to have an opinion too. And I think that, in simplest way I can put it, is doing too much, okay? Life is difficult already. I mean, I remember being like, I wanted to be a professional football player. That wasn't happening. Like, even as I got older, my dad was like, you got to work harder if you want to do that. There's always like a standard you got to get to. Kids, we shouldn't be making it this difficult, okay? I mean, really. And the truth is, no child should have to go to the school and feel uncomfortable. And if a child wants to be another gender, they can still go into a bathroom that they were born. I'm not trying to control everybody's life, but we got feeling, we got feelings too. Do you?
Again, Mr. Walberg, member of the Committee on Education and the Workforce.
The gentleman is recognized.
I thank the chairman and Madam Speaker. I rise today with a strong sense of compassion, but the strongest support for HJ Res 165, which would overturn the administration's radical rewrite of Title IX. The Biden administration's failure to honor the vital protection granted to women and girls, not to mention its disregard of the existing due process rights, is incredibly dangerous. Just read the rule. By attempting to work towards the rule, what the rule calls educational equity, the Biden administration has put women and girls in danger and sacrificed their equal access in educational opportunities. Their privacy has been invaded, making them vulnerable to many threats, from physical harm in contact sports to sexual harassment in unsupervised areas like bathrooms or locker rooms. All it takes is to think about the safety of your own daughter or granddaughters to realize that the Biden administration's Title IX rewrite must be stopped.
August 1st.
For decades, women have courageously fought for and successfully earned their equal protection under the law. The Title IX rule not only forces a non-scientific and nonsensical gender ideology onto every American, but also undermines the progress of women's rights in our country. It's an enormous step backwards. I've met with female athletes who've lost out on opportunities because of a male taking their place. We have also seen the footage of female athletes being physically hurt by male athletes. Voices, courageous voices, such as Riley Gaines, have had the courage to stand up and speak for millions of young girls across our country who are at risk because of the Biden administration's dangerous policy. This resolution stands up for those young women and girls who have found their voice and the courage to speak up for truth, fairness, and science. I encourage support of this resolution. I yield back.
North Carolina, California, New York, Connecticut. I understand that when they're a Republican, you might think, you know what? And it's right to think that because these politicians are always fibbing. You know what I mean? To put it nicely. But the truth is, he's not lying right there. And I'm going to say he's not lying. He's not lying about the things that he said are happening. And the truth is, in California, it's like people don't think that if the rule is there, they're not going to use it. What's happening is adults are becoming female in male prisons to go to female prisons. Taxpayers are paying for these inmates to have gender changes. Not lying. I don't know what SB bill it is or whatever, HR dash whatever. I made a video. It's in there. All right. Newsom lost his mind. Okay. Right to the next. Right to the next.
The gentlelady reserves. Gentlelady.
Right up.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise in strong opposition to the resolution. The Biden administration's rule strengthens and clarifies protections against sex-based harassment and discrimination.
Pause. We're going to listen to this. But I told you the definition of what Title IX is. And there's so much that goes into Title IX. So this specific Title IX rule with the perceived gender identity. For children, elementary schools, go to the bathroom, playing sports, forced up, changing locker rooms. Riley Gaines, Paula Scanlon, look it up. I got it made. We're going to let him talk. Just because I want to see how dishonest it is.
For LGBTQI plus students, pregnant students, and parenting students. Consistent with the Bostock decision, the final rule clarifies that Title IX's protections extend to cover discrimination on the basis of sexual orientation, gender identity, sex characteristics, and sex stereotypes. This is gravely needed for the LGBTQI+ students. Currently, 83% of LGBTQI+ students face victimization at school. In states with laws that specifically target gay and transgender youth, the rate of hate crimes in schools has quadrupled. For these students, the explicit protections the Biden administration has finalized will make a life-changing difference. This rule will decrease absenteeism, improve mental health, and allow students recourse when they are targets of harassment and violence. Republicans, however, are seeking to overturn a rule precisely because of the protections it extends to queer students, and with the passage of this resolution, tear down all protections that this essential rule clarifies. This resolution will have drastic consequences. The protections that the administration offers for pregnant and parenting students would also be overturned. Survivors of sexual harassment and assault will continue to face significant barriers to completing their education. While Republicans claim this resolution is in the interest of women's rights, their proposed solution will make the situation worse for female students. What overturning this rule does is exacerbate existing inequalities, prevent any future administration from enacting a similar rule, then place the blame solely on the LGBTQI+ community. It is short-sighted, petty, and cruel. I will vote against overturning this rule, and I urge my colleagues to do the same, and I yield back.
From New York.
Everything is fine. Nobody hates anybody. They just don't want boys and girls sports, boys and girl locker rooms. What's the problem? It had nothing to do with gay orientation. Who cares? And if there's some evil or bad things towards that orientation, you need to handle it, because that ain't happening. I got a lot of friends. I got family. Boys, out of girls.